Spence News Network, where I give facts, not nonsense. Alright, so hello, and it's a beautiful Saturday morning, so I decided to record outside once again. And we will start with the Ukraine update. It's getting pretty bad, and it's honestly just because of the hypocrisy of Vladimir Putin. And what he is commanding his army to do is terrible. Blinken and Austin did visit Ukraine last Sunday. This is kind of a weak rundown. That Kyiv was actually bombed while the UN chief was visiting, so obviously Russia is kind of anti-that, anti-this. They're way. And then people are returning after not being comfortable as refugees. I've seen multiple stories of mothers taking their children back home after being uncomfortable as refugees. And I get that. Like, imagine if you just had to pack up at a moment's notice and leave and go. If it is a war zone, maybe they just want to be home. The Mariupol steel plant, which is the headline for today, is destroyed, and Poland and Bulgaria, after refusing to pay in rubles, will no longer have the Russian gas. And Putin accepted an invitation to the G20 summit, so that is going to be, I think, a lot of banter, and he and maybe Xi Jinping will be the only two on his side. GDP. So the U.S. economy did shrink in the first quarter, falling by 0.4%. That's a minimal. Gosh, but if you just look at how it's rebounded and just had some pretty 1.5, and recession fears, I mean, it's mounting and people are predicting it. Let's hope not. Berkshire Hathaway profits fell in the first quarter, and the Chevron investment is now in their top 4. And as the wages rise, so does inflation. Wages are rising, bonuses are going up, so that is good. But also, inflation is now up 8.8%, and wages rose 12.7% last year. So the crude rises, and the stocks plunged with the news of the GDP on Friday. It does not look to have changed the Fed's path a ton, and gas prices are at $4.17 a gallon. So that is your economy update. So no COVID slide today, even though cases are rising. So now we're the Ohio Republican Senate primary. First big election. It will be officially 6 months and 5 days from the actual election day. And this is the big competitive one, because there were Mandel and Vance, the two top ones, vying for Trump's endorsement. And I think the real question really is here. How powerful will Donald Trump's endorsements be this year? And it's a big question, because because a lot of moderate Republicans have not been happy with him, and his favorability rating is pretty darn low. It's starting to rebound, but it's low, and Biden has a better favorability rating. The polling average this is an average of 2 polls released within the last 2 weeks. First was a Trafalgar Group poll, which is a Republican-funded polling firm, and the second was a Fox News poll. Fox News have seemed, while they have what's presumed as right-leaning coverage, they have had very accurate polls in the past. I must say that I rate that pollster as good. But Mandel and Vance, in the average of those 2 polls, tied at the top at 23%. Then you've got Gibbons at 13.5%. Then you've got Dolan, who is a conservative looking to position him. He doesn't like Trump. He's not a big fan of that guy. He's called the election lie. He's called it a lie. And this is a really conservative group. There's not really a moderate. And there's this 22.5% of Republicans undecided. I feel like that is a swath of moderate Republicans. Timken, 7.5%. That's the pictures. Timken on the far left. Then you've got Mandel, Vance, and then Mike Gibbons, who's a businessman. Mandel ran in 2012 for U.S. Senate as the Ohio State Treasurer. J.D. Vance is the hillbilly edgeley offer and has Trump's endorsement, and Jane Timken. And then, the polling, I don't see how you go against Trump, especially because Ohio I think it's a very Trumpy state, because while everything shifted, Ohio voted for Trump by 8 points, while Arizona and Georgia shifted by 8 points. I think it was just because, even after Trump's anti-union comments, because Ohio is such a union state, and I think Tim Ryan, that's one of the reasons why he wins so much, and why he could win against all these candidates, it stuck with Trump. And so that is why I think that Trump's endorsement is still powerful, and that is why I'm going to pick J.D. Vance. Right now, my pick is J.D. Vance, so we'll probably know the results Tuesday, Wednesday. MLB standings of April 30th, so this is going to be quick. New York division leaders: New York Yankees, Minnesota Twins, Los Angeles Angels, New York Mets. Brilliant job, Mets. 15-6, combined no-hitter. Really good. 7-3 last 10. Obviously lost to the Cards. Milwaukee Brewers, LA Dodgers, but that's also a San Diego kind of tie. New York Yankees, I think the New York teams are the best of any combined city. There aren't a lot of them, but they are definitely two of the best teams with a combined record. Yankees and the Mets of 29-12, which I think is pretty good. My Cubs aren't doing great, but my Yankees are doing well, so I'm happy about that. Some very good people. Tylor Megill has been red hot this year. He still doesn't have a loss. He helped with a combined no-hitter. Tylor Megill is on fire. I think that he is pitching well. Nestor Cortez, definitely. Clayton Kershaw is doing well, I'm afraid, when he faces the Cubs. Chicago, and at worst over the last bit of time, got the Reds, the Cubs, the Washington Nationals, the Detroit Tigers, and the Chicago White Sox. I kind of feel the worst teams. I mean, some of those teams got off to a pretty hot start. But they've kind of fallen. Longest win streak, Miami, and the Yankees, and the Angels, I think, are all doing really well. So yeah, that's the MLB roundup. Then the NFL draft round 1. One surprise. Only one QB picked. Not a surprise, but definitely down from last year. Trayvon Walker, first pick, Jacksonville Jaguars. Then Aiden Hutchinson. They were two very close. They were going 1-2. Plus the draft 6 wide receivers picked in the first round, as well as a lot of defensive linemen and a lot of offensive tackles, which I think is pretty. Some cornerbacks as well, and that safety, Kyle Hamilton, from who I like, Notre Dame. And as well with a few safeties, but no really defense, and wide receivers was really the main theme of that. Another presentation of Finn's News Network, or Finn's New News, where you get facts, not nonsense. Thank you for watching. Have a good weekend.